Straight ahead on this edition of City Span. The city sprang into summer with the 500 in mind, the Summer 500 that is, providing jobs and training for hundreds of high school students.
It's been one of the best opportunities I've ever had.
The life skills expanding to many other programs, including our future ambassadors. From the arts to the news center, we have plenty to cheer about. From the big boats to the little boats, to a stroll down Victory Drive with World War I in mind. We have it for you next on City Span. And welcome to City Span, your source for news, information, education, entertainment, and sports in Savannah. I'm your host, Ken Slatz. The city of Savannah soared into the summer with its paid internship program, the Summer 500, providing jobs and training to hundreds of our area's young men and women.
Will you help me welcome to the stage Mr. Eddie DeLoach? Let's give him a hand.
The most important thing you're going to learn this summer is the value that you bring to the job.
The value that you give yourself is the value the world gives you. It took me a long time to get that. The world sees you as you see yourself.
Stedman Graham delivered an inspirational speech. Oprah Winfrey's longtime partner even touched upon the wisdom he brings from their 30 years together.
And she was a hard worker. And she was determined. And she was able to what? Take one of the greatest countries in the world, which we live in. This is the greatest country in the world, America. And she was able to understand how to take information and education and make it relevant to who she was as a person. It's the greatest freedom you can get.
It's your responsibility. It is your opportunity to make a difference in your life this summer. But it's up to you.
Along with lots of fun and entertainment, these interns kicked off 8 weeks that could help shape their lives, learning lessons from a wide range of experience.
So no matter what you do, give back. I know the mayor says that a lot. A lot of the folks on this front row say that a lot. You've got to give back. You can't take all the time.
So this is not about school, this opportunity. This is about life skills. It's about learning. It's about creating. It's about developing. It's about self-mastery.
The most important thing I can teach you, these kids, we can teach you here, is confidence in yourself. I want you all to really enjoy this. This is the time of your life. Come on out now.
Later in the show, we'll roll up our sleeves and head starboard for a personal trip with one of our Summer 500 students. So stick around. That's in about 20 minutes on City Span.
It's been one of the best opportunities I've ever had.
That's the Savannah Youth Ambassadors Program in a nutshell. Michaela Taylor is one of 30 ambassadors in the Summer Institute program.
An ambassador is one who goes the extra mile, who goes out for their community and does everything they possibly can to make a difference, not just for themselves, just for the community in general, and who makes the difference.
To go out and spread the word in the community, spread good things about the community, interact with one another, how to treat people right.
It's all about leadership development with plenty of hands-on activities, like a trip to the community center to spend a few hours with some of our area's senior citizens.
Seniors do have a lot of wisdom, and I can learn a lot. I can learn about the history, because a lot of these seniors have went through a lot.
They're really enjoying this experience, and they're taking it in, because now they're learning not just from what they see on TV, oh, the young people in Savannah are doing this and doing that, but there are actually some who are making a difference and who are doing good things.
Which cuts at the core of the program: civic-mindedness, academics, culture. Ambassadors are preparing to make a difference.
We may need to know how to present ourselves. We may have to speak to an audience or something.
Projecting and being confident at all times when you're speaking, not just speaking or hanging your head down, being low.
Some of the activities are challenging, but they need to know in order for it to help them later on in life. So I would recommend my friends joining the Savannah Youth Ambassadors Program.
The city continues to make the necessary moves to ensure work on the arena and Canal District can begin. The current city lot, which is part of the site for the new arena, is being moved, but not too far from where it's been for decades.
We're only about a mile from the existing city lot, so it's not hard to get to. You're just headed straight on down Gwinnett Street, be right in the northeast corner of 516 and I-16. Much easier access from the south side. You can come right down 516 and get off and you're right here.
The new site on Interchange Drive will be built on a 13-acre lot, which is all part of a much bigger 63-acre area owned by the city, some of which already houses some of the City of Savannah's departments. Now the full Public Works Division will be joined.
Essentially everything that you need, or the bulk of everything you need for building, will be in one place. And then we'll also have a big building for operations. It keeps development community, it keeps anybody that needs those services, it keeps them from having to run around from the south side to downtown and back and forth. You've got all that you need in one place.
The start of the design phase of the Interchange Drive complex is underway. It'll take about a year. But just because these departments haven't moved off the old city lot doesn't mean progress for the Canal District will be on hold.
In the big picture, the arena starting very soon, because the first piece of that is to raise and widen Gwinnett Street. And that project is just about completed. The design will be ready to go to bid here shortly and get started. Everybody will be seeing the traffic will be a mess and all of that. But that is progress, and that's the first step into the overall Canal District and the arena.
Of course, we'll keep you updated as the new city complex and Canal District progresses. Also, remember you can catch all our stories and information online, savannahga.gov, or on all major social media platforms. Just search City of Savannah. Still to come. Plenty of cheering going on around Savannah this summer. Camps galore for Savannah's youth. But straight ahead, we will more than paint a picture of the new Cultural Arts Center. Major steps toward completing this downtown gem. City Span will be right back.
Every day, I can make a difference. Building relationships with kids, helping others, and making my community safer. I enjoy being a part of this team. It was an easy transition from the military. I joined the Army for my country. I became a police officer for my family. My daughter looks up to me. That will put a smile on any dad's face. If you're ready to make a difference, step forward.
Welcome back to City Span. Programming reminder for you, every other Thursday at 2 p.m. we are live with City Council meetings from our historic chamber. We also televise council workshops. We are your source for all city news and information. That is the corner of Liberty Street and MLK. Major movement in the building of the new Cultural Arts Center. The center, which should be open next summer, will include a flexible performance space, galleries, and classrooms, all available for use by Savannah's arts and cultural organizations. It is all part of a building boom in downtown, thanks in part to the area's many nonprofit arts and cultural organizations. A recent study completed by the city and Americans for the Arts shows just how much of an economic impact these groups have, and the results may surprise you.
We found that around $135 million were generated by the nonprofit organizations and their audiences. This also helped produce around $14 million in local and state taxes for both the audiences and the organizations.
In addition to the millions of dollars generated, culture and arts organizations help support more than 4,500 full-time jobs in Savannah and Chatham County.
For our population size, I think that the creative sector is a pretty competitive area, at least for Chatham County. And this kind of shows how the arts are generating greater economic investment and interest in the region.
The city's Department of Cultural Affairs worked with 45 local nonprofit arts and culture groups to collect the data needed to complete the study. Now, it was part of the most comprehensive economic impact study of the nonprofit arts and culture industry ever conducted in the U.S.
This study really shows with quantifiable data that the arts have a really great impact on our local economy as its own industry. So really the arts and cultural organizations and their audiences should be seen as an economic point of vitality.
Among similarly sized cities, Savannah ranked 10th in total spending by the industry, and spending by audiences and attendees ranked above the national average.
One more important aspect was that the audience spending was actually around $100 million for just audience spending alone. Chatham County audience, whether it's local or tourist, actually spent above the national average, about $50 per person per event, and the national average is around $30 per event. So it's really great to see that the arts are supporting not only their own organizations, but also organizations around them like restaurants and hotels and those kinds of businesses.
You can get more information about the Arts and Economic Prosperity Study 5, including a list of all the communities who participated, by visiting americansforthearts.org. More information on the City of Savannah's report can be found at savannahga.gov/arts. This summer, more than 300 young students are camping with the Cultural Affairs Department, perhaps for the final time in the current building. They are learning all about the arts. It's a robust program with colorful results.
We have 50 kids a week for 7 to 8 weeks, depending on the school year. So behind me you can see one of the classes right now. They're learning about agomographs and creating as an optical illusion where they take opposites and they put them together in one piece of art. Right here, they're working on mixed media ice cream cones. You want to hold it up for them? All right, looking good, guys. This is the assemblage box project. They're working with texture and negative space within these boxes that they're creating. Who's the artist that you guys are doing this after? Louise Nevelson. This is our oldest group in here. So they are working on Van Gogh's sunflowers with chalk pastels. They've been working with glue and they're smearing them right now, as you can see. Getting ready for the gallery show on Friday for their parents. And this is Miss Mary's weaving class right here. This class is super valuable as a part of the makers movement that I mentioned earlier. So the kids are learning how to weave and create from just plain yarn, and they're making their own weaving boards as well out of cardboard. And this is our metalsmithing studio right here. In this room we do glass fusing, we do metal work. The kids right now are working on polymer clay and creating jewelry with polymer clay pieces.
I made a choker that I made out of polymer clay with beads, and I cut out the shape with of the raindrop. And
we offer art history classes, performance-based classes, music. We've got guitar lessons next week, so there's a whole array of different classes for the kids that they may not get a chance to take in regular school. The goal in the end is for them to have fun creating and making art and taking that into their next classes, the next phases of their life. And we've got kids that come back every year and they do different things.
And welcome to the 2017 Summer Cheerleading Sports Camp.
Betty Burns continues to run the cheer camp at the A. Lee Temple Arena off Skidaway Road. Young ladies between the ages of 5 and 15 getting their spirit on and learning from some high school and college-age cheer coaches, many of whom continue to cheer themselves. The Leisure Services Bureau has been holding this camp since 1992. That is 25 years. It started outdoors, but found a home at the A. Lee Temple a handful of years ago. The city holds 4 cheerleading sports camps, each lasting 4 days. So if you do want to get a head start to reserve your spot for next year, call Betty Burns, Camp Director, 351-3852. Buying a home can be a very stressful process, but with some basic education and counseling, that process can be made a little bit easier. That's where our friends over at Consumer Credit Counsel Service can help. Richard Reed has more in this installment of Bank on This.
Owning a home is a goal for many Savannians. Home ownership improves our quality of life, our neighborhoods, and our community. But buying your first home can raise a lot of questions. Where do you begin? Am I ready to buy a home? How much can I afford? Today, we'll speak with a CCCS housing counselor about home ownership.
One of the first steps you would want to do is actually get connected with your local Consumer Credit Counseling Service agency. The reason I say that is they're going to offer some sort of home buyer education class and have counselors available to help you look at your own personal situation. Why I think that's helpful. Every community, every city has its own home ownership assistance programs and resources. And you're going to want to know what those are and if you qualify for those beforehand.
How do I get started?
Hands down, look at the budget first. You know, one of the things I like to mention when I talk about budgeting is use it with a purpose and a plan. Kind of like when you're talking about credit, use it with a purpose and a plan. And in this case, your purpose, your goal is to buy a home, and a budget is just a tool to help you get there. So start off by taking a look at that. What is my income? What are my expenses? And depending on where you're at, you may identify how much I need to save in order to take care of a down payment and my closing costs. If you're already there and you have the savings, maybe you can take a closer look at how much can I actually afford. And I think affordability is a really important discussion because it's one thing to go into a bank or talk to a lender. They'll tell you how much you qualify for, but it doesn't always translate into how much you're comfortable with given your budget. You know your financial situation the best, and so that'll empower you with more knowledge. And certainly sitting down with a counselor is going to help inform you as to what is actually affordable given your other expenses, given your current debts.
Anthony, how is owning different than renting?
Well, you're the landlord, right? So you can't, if you're a homeowner, you know, a repair comes up, and they will come up, it's up to you to repair those, and that takes time, energy, and money. And it's not to say that that's bad, but it's also a reality. One of the biggest pros, though, of being a homeowner is it's yours. You have the pride of home ownership, you have the pride of building wealth, building equity in something that's yours. And it's not to say that renting is bad in any way. Renting works for individuals depending on what their situation is. So if you're wanting to buy, renting might just be a temporary situation to help you get closer to home ownership.
What is a home inspection?
Well, first thing I like to clarify is a home inspection is quite a bit different than a home appraisal, in that a home inspection is something you order, it's something you pay for. You also pay for an appraisal. But an appraisal is ordered by the bank to assess the fair market value of the home, whereas the home inspection is going to be conducted by a certified home inspector. You're going to want to make sure that that's the case. And it's going to assess the overall health of all the systems in the home, okay, and let you know what repairs need to be made. And if there are repairs that you're okay with and still purchasing, you can follow through with it. If you need to negotiate, that also kind of gives you that ammunition to move forward with negotiating based on what's in the report. One tip I would recommend is definitely, if you're a first-time home buyer especially, go to the home inspection. Most home inspectors are going to be okay with that. If they're not, you may want to find another home inspector, but go with them because they're going to point out the things that you're going to want to know about the property.
What other advice do you have for somebody that wants to buy a house?
Stay the course, keep your eye on the goal, and know that if you want it to happen, it'll happen.
If you dream of owning a home, make that dream a reality and start on the path to home ownership today. Until next time, I'm Richard Reeve, and you can bank on this.
Thank you very much, Richard. The Small Business Assistance Corporation is a valuable resource for those wanting to start or expand a business. Through their Small Business Resource Center on Liberty Street, SBAC provides loans, counseling, training, and more to small business owners and entrepreneurs in Savannah. Now here's Leandria Michael with one of their success stories in this Small Business Spotlight.
There are thousands of kids in the foster system in Georgia, and J&D Trinity works to get those kids into good homes. Over a decade ago, the group went into SBAC to get financing, and they are able to sustain and grow their business while helping the community over a decade later.
Trinity is a child placement service located here in Savannah. We provide residential placement services for children who are in the care and custody of DFACS and DJJ. We are licensed and contracted with both of those entities, and we have been since 2007.
I met Janice through my parents being foster parents, actually in Florida. So I went to become a foster parent so I could back them up, and I never became a foster parent. Janice wouldn't approve me. But anyway, said I don't stay home, which is very true. In the long run, what ultimately happened was Trinity came into existence. Yeah. And we, of course, went through the legal workings that we needed to do to formulate a company, and after a while we discovered that we would need more financing in order to complete the process.
We reached out to SBAC for a little bit of help financially, and SBAC came running and bearing gifts.
The process was rather seamless for us, in my opinion. Everyone that we came in contact with, even the office staff, you know, because I call with 1,000 questions, and they're very patient. Needless to say, they always make you feel comfortable, and that your dream and your vision, they never say, well, we don't see it. They just tell you, well, maybe if you think about tweaking it this way or tweaking it that way, and SBAC gives you that needed push and hope and additional drive to complete your process, to realize your dream. And if you can dream it, you can achieve it.
There is a huge and significant need in our community for people who have a heart and a willingness to provide a stable home for children who've been neglected and abused. At any point, any person can contact us, and we'll be willing to give them the information needed to get started on becoming a licensed foster parent with the state of Georgia.
SBAC is a community development financial institution, and through groups like J&D, they're able to positively impact the community. If you have a vision that you want to see come to life, contact SBAC for financing at sbacsav.com. Or you can stop by 111 East Liberty Street. I'm Leandria Michael, and this is your SBAC Small Business Spotlight.
Leandria. One more break before we wrap up our July edition of City Span. Still to come, we'll take you on the job with one of our Summer 500 interns testing the waters in Savannah. But straight ahead, the city is preparing to honor those that served our country in World War I. That's next.
We live in a fast-paced world, so keep up with your local news, information, and happenings around town with the City of Savannah. Updates, tidbits, and breaking news. The City of Savannah on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We give it to you straight, complemented by a library of videos both on Facebook and YouTube. Informing the public, celebrating milestones, introducing you to the people of our town. The City of Savannah, using social media to be at your service.
Two of the largest container ships ever to come to the East Coast called upon Savannah's port over the past several weeks. May 11th, the Costco Development sailed down the Savannah River with hoses and spraying water and much fanfare. That was the largest to call on Savannah. How about this? 5,500 containers on that ship right there. Governor Nathan Deal said this is another example of how the Port of Savannah is the gateway, not just for the U.S. Southeast, but for America's East Coast. But just a few weeks later, the record was broken. On June 1st, the OOCO France sailed into port. It holds up to 200 more containers than the Costco. And welcome back to the stretch run of City Span. 100 years ago, we were entering the stretch run of World War I, one which lasted from 1914 until late 1918. Now the city is gearing up to recognize and commemorate our area's fallen soldiers.
We're reaching out to our local citizens because we want to hear what their stories are, how their families contributed, and we're hoping that they'll share their artifacts, their documents, their photographs with us. We want some of those stories that really make this a very personal Savannah story.
Like stories of heroism and patriotism. In fact, Savannah's main east-west artery is rooted deep in history.
Victory Drive is actually a memorial boulevard honoring the World War I soldiers who lost their lives. Originally, it was called Estill Avenue. The World War I monument, it was dedicated in 1929. It was originally located in the middle of the intersection of Waters Avenue and Victory Drive. There's the names of over 120 Chatham Countyans who died during their service to their country. It was moved to the northwest corner of Daffin Park in 1999.
Moves for obvious reasons. It is the focal point for Victory Drive, which is a full-length military boulevard extending all the way to the ocean off Tybee Island. That's the entranceway where the U.S.'s final World War I vets returned.
And it wasn't until 1923 that the nation's last soldiers returned home. And Savannah's port was actually the welcoming port to those soldiers. They called them America's Last 1,000. They actually numbered about 1,200 soldiers, and many of them came home with their war brides and their new babies, and we were really fortunate to be able to be the ones that welcomed them home.
The city's quest to gather artifacts for the commemoration is off to a solid start.
We have one special item in the Small Treasures exhibit from World War I that's on loan to us from the Ships of the Sea Maritime Museum. It is a flat hat, or a sailor's hat, from the USS Savannah, which was a submarine tender during World War I. It traveled with a submarine fleet to the Azores, and then after the war, in February of 1919, it came to visit Savannah. And so the crew and the captain were actually visited the mayor here at City Hall. So this is a really special piece that connects back to World War I and the centennial that we're in the middle of celebrating.
Check out the flat cap at City Hall in Council Chambers. As for joining our team and helping us showcase artifacts and share memories, contact Luciana Spraker in the Library and Archives Department. She is at 912-651-6412, or you can just drop her an email, lspraker@savannahga.gov. With the Summer 500 program, the City of Savannah is in itself employing nearly 100 student interns, working in several departments across the city. One is quite interesting. We took a boat ride for today's working lesson.
Attitude is everything.
Simple words, complex results without them. City worker Darvion Heron, once an intern himself, taking Julian Roberts aboard for more than just a ride.
It is more fun if you have a good attitude and you put your mind on what you're doing, you actually enjoy it. Try to teach them that work ethic is everything, and being goal-oriented and time management is very important when you're trying to get a job. All right, we're going to be checking for pH to make sure that the water is processed right and clean and no one gets harmed. In order for the fish to live in the water, we need dissolved oxygen.
Roberts is 16 years old. He's heading into the 11th grade at Memorial Day School.
Like an insight to being an adult, but since they pair you with like certain jobs, you get like an insight of the workforce and like what people actually do when they graduate from college and things of that sort. I remember what it used to be like to be the intern, so having somebody up under my wing to teach makes it really fun and enjoyable, and then having kids and young adults that want to learn about it.
Darvion and Julian aren't alone on the water. College intern Brianna Williams learning as well on Alligator Alley.
It's always fun to be on the boat. This is the fun stuff, but you actually do learn a lot about how all of these things interact with each other. Like, you never really realize how important your water is.
Mr. Shaw, he really pushes you to be to work on time. That's the boss at the water treatment plant. He pushes you to be to work on time and to look up to par, having a uniform, and don't sleep on the job, and always be alert.
Pay attention. Take all of the advice and the training that you can get and take it and run with it.
If you have a high school student or you are one, keep in mind the Summer 500 program for next year. It is a growing program, and we'd like for you to be involved. That is going to do it for this edition of City Span. Now, don't forget, for all your latest news, information, education, entertainment, and sports, turn to the City of Savannah and SGTV. You can find everything you need at savannahga.gov, and we are on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Thanks for watching, and thanks for making Savannah your home.